A possible showdown between Michael Jackson's mother and his ex-wife has been postponed. A custody hearing originally scheduled for this morning is now set for next Monday. Meanwhile, Jackson's sister LaToya has said she believes Michael was murdered. CBS News correspondent Ben Tracy has the latest.
Was Michael Jackson murdered for his money? That's what the London tabloids claim his sister LaToya told them. Michael's father, Joe Jackson, has made similar allegations.
Michael was dead before he left the house. Unsuspected foul play somewhere.
The family can never have closure, it seems to me, until they know what happened, when, and how the last 12 hours of his life.
But just what Jackson was like in his final hours depends on who you talk to. His concert promoters say he appeared healthy, but TMZ reports that the pop star was an anesthesia addict, seeking out doctors and even dentists to prescribe powerful drugs such as Diprivan. Dr. Howard Samuels has treated celebrity addicts.
There are a lot of people in this town that will have doctors on their payroll for $30,000 to $50,000 a month. And the doctors will come to your home, they'll be there at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and give you whatever you want.
During a 2003 raid of Jackson's Neverland Ranch, sheriff's deputies found several bottles of pills prescribed by multiple doctors. Some carried names of ranch employees, even though they may have been Jackson's. This one for Xanax was written by Dr. Arnold Klein, Jackson's dermatologist. On Larry King, he denied overprescribing.
If you took all the pills I'd given him in the last year at once, you wouldn't do anything to you.
But piecing together Jackson's medical history is proving to be as complicated as the singer himself. Ben Tracy, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Joining us now is attorney and courtside anchor Jack Ford. Good morning.
Hey, Harry. Good to see you.
So this hearing, this custody hearing, gets postponed, and it's not even really clear yet if Debbie Rowe is going to make any kind of a claim, right?
I think what you're seeing is a court saying, all right, let's sort this all out, but let's do it before we get inside a courtroom here. Let's figure out who the players are going to be. Mm-hmm. Debbie Rowe, if you want to become part of this, let us know about that.
But she's supposed to be involved in this conference call, right, with Catherine?
Which I think suggests to everybody, yes, that she wants some role here. Mm-hmm. Whether she's going to be walking in and saying, I want the full and complete custody of these children, or whether she might say, let's introduce me slowly, perhaps, and get me to a point where I can then take over, or we can structure some sort of joint custody situation. But I think the fact that you're seeing this put off for a week is a smart move, because you don't want a pitched battle about custody if you can possibly help.
Especially in a courtroom, right?
In a courtroom,
then you're ceding control.
And in the Michael Jackson case.
Right.
And you go into a courtroom, and obviously as attorneys, last thing you want to do is turn your case over to a judge, because then you lose complete control. So you always try to resolve something first before you say, okay, we can't do it, you figure it out.
All right, so the will says, I want my mother, Catherine Jackson, to take care of my kids. Catherine Jackson and Joe Jackson are estranged. Yeah. Does this have any bearing? Because he's had a lot to say in the last couple of days about what he wants for these children, et cetera, et cetera. Can that possibly have any bearing?
It could play it. Because if I'm a judge and I have to decide this question of custody, and I see that Michael Jackson says, I want my mother Catherine to have. You know, we've all heard what's been reported about what Michael Jackson said about his own father and abuses during his lifetime. So if I'm the judge and I'm looking for, again, remember, what's in the best interest of the child? What's the best, most nurturing environment psychologically, financially, emotionally? I've got some concerns if Joe Jackson is saying, I'm part of this deal. So if I'm the judge, I might say, you know what? Catherine is the one he asked for.
Right.
Joe has some problems. You have to tell me, is Joe part of this picture? Because if he is, I might look at it very differently if I'm the judge.
That's a big red flag. Let's talk about this notion of LaToya Jackson talking to the press and saying she feels like Michael Jackson was murdered. When we were in Los Angeles last week, we spoke with Lou Ferrigno, the actor and bodybuilder who was working with Michael Jackson. He said, I'm working with a guy. The guy seemed like he was in good health to me. Is it possible, if you were prosecutors in Los Angeles, could you make a case for murder? That this guy was specifically, intentionally killed, or maybe even manslaughter, some sort of unintentional manslaughter against physicians who would have given him these prescription drugs?
The answer is you might be able to. If I'm a prosecutor and I have a case come in, even if it's not Michael Jackson, anybody else, but certainly if it is Michael Jackson, I'm looking at it hard, and I see that somebody is loading him up with drugs unmanaged, you can make an argument, and as you said, manslaughter is what you're probably looking at there. You didn't intend to kill him, but you engage in conduct that is so reckless that there was a real risk there of somebody dying. We're starting to see now that prosecutors are more conscious of this type of thing. It had to be a pretty significant showing that somebody is in fact loading him up rather than just saying, well, here's something you can take on occasion. I didn't know he was hoarding them and then taking bunches of them at a time.
Right.
But if I'm a prosecutor and I'm starting to hear these stories, I want to take a look at it.
All right, Jack Ford, thanks so
All right,
much.
Harry,
Good to see you. All right.